processor. I go through most of the clothes that come through the door here, get put out on the floor for customers to buy and do whatever they would like with it. And I make sure all the good ones goes out and all the bad ones kind of go in the bins.
For us, since I believe 2020, he came through us through one of our school programs. And when the time came for him to graduate, we decided to go ahead and hire him on. When kids are still in school, they can come work with us, try to get some job experience before they graduate. And we have partnerships with several school districts.
Every day is a new experience, and I enjoy the people I work with quite much, and they put up with my nonsense most of the time.
He definitely brings up the energy to right here. He's definitely like a stable in this place because of just the positive energy he brings.
He comes to work every day in a great mood, always first person in the morning to tell you hello. I was around to make sure he finds everybody before he leaves, and everybody loves working with him.
It's never a dull moment. We carry on all day long. Sometimes we get a little loud, but nobody complains. We have a really good time. We work really well together, and we've really gotten close and get to know each other really well.
He's kind. He always is willing to help out. He's funny. He's always in a good mood usually.
I know that he's very into thrifting and antique stores and collecting things of that sort. He collects Coca-Cola items, vintage TVs, VHS tapes, things like that.
Nerd when it comes to old stuff, and I love vintage things, and that's why I love working here, because of all the vintage stuff that comes through. And I'm a thrifter at heart, and so if I see something that I can either wear or put on a shelf, I kind of buy it. So a lot of knickknacks, a lot of movies, mostly VHS tapes, because I'm that old school kid who just grew up on VHS tapes. But growing up, I didn't have internet, I didn't have TV at some times, and so my entertainment or my social media of the 2000s was VHS tape. Because I just don't collect one thing, I collect just unique things that people would be like, well, why do you have that? Because the story behind the item.
Sometimes, we'll get donations in, and if I see something that I just know Max is going to freak out about, I will bring it over to him and say, or have him close his eyes and say, Max, look at this. And sure enough, usually he's super excited about it. He knows so much about things, so it's just really cool.
Yeah, sometimes I have to ask him hey, do you know what this is? And he'll sometimes have an answer, because we do get really weird random stuff in the Goodwill sometimes. Go pass by my area because there's something random be sitting there, and he'll go, oh, I know what that is.
The coolest thing, in my opinion, it's probably going to be the old game systems that have come through the door, because I'm a gamer kid at heart.
Any old wrestling stuff, any old toys, just any just cool stuff that you can instantly tell is oh, that's really old, and really we got some 80s rugs type things, and he's really interested in that. He has some, I think he said he has some 80s magazines that he looks through just to see all the cool random stuff they were coming up with in the 80s.
I love collecting vintage stuff. I grew up with a grandpa who had this beautiful vintage truck that he had in his garage. He would always take me for rides when we would go. And that's kind of what started the whole niche of why I love working at Goodwill. Because again, I don't know what's coming through that door, and I get to see all the old stuff, the stories of where people have gotten some of this stuff. And a reason is just to give something another life before they throw it away and it just ends up somewhere in a landfill. I love to sew. I have my own little business where I sew stuffed animals and things for people. And I just love sewing. I've been sewing for now 20 years. And I like to sew creations from video games, from shows, to the littlest of things. Sewing for me is just, it's therapeutic because it's quiet. I show more of my art of what I can do with sewing. And it helps because everyone here, someone rips something and they know they can come to me, and I can always patch it up the next day. I'll have it just done in about 5 minutes.
I was a donation that came in once that was had a little rip in it, and I was like, hey Max, can you sew this? And he did, so that was pretty cool, and we could put it on the floor after that.
Anytime there's a donation that comes through the door that has a hole in it or needs a quick patch up, I usually have a little bob of thread back here to fix anything that needs a quick stitch up.
There was this super cute stuffed dinosaur that came in, and it had just a little hole on the seam, and when it came in, it was perfect condition, but it had just this little hole in the back. and he had fixed it. He had sewn it up and it got put out, and I actually bought it the next day because I have a almost 2-year-old son and he carries it around everywhere. And Max has even fixed, I have a little dog chair for my son that had gotten torn a little bit, and I actually brought it in for Max to sew. He had taken it home and fixed it and brought it back to me. So even outside of work, he's helping out.
If it's in good condition, I just saw that it should not be thrown away if there's an easy fix around it.
One thing that we take pride in here at Goodwill is we do try to keep as much out of the landfill as we can. Anything that we sell that we can keep out of a landfill, I mean, of course, it helps the environment. We recycle lots of things, whether it's plastic, electronics, even shoes, purses, clothing. So, I mean, we do our best to try to keep as much out of the landfill as we can.